looking for Tommy DeMisa. He
Hello,
left.
everybody. It's your boy. What's going on? It's funny. I don't know what just happened. This is PALS. This is the Professionals and Animal Lovers show. And all of a sudden, I disappeared off the screen, and I worried about you, Val. I was like, oh, no.
Can't do that to me. You cannot do that to me.
I'm out of breath because I did it to me, too, and I was kind of nervous. I'm over here, like, looking for manatee jokes. Every manatee joke I find, I like less than the one I saw before it. So I've, like, decided not even to do a manatee joke. Because honestly, all these jokes are no good. This is your Professionals and Animal Lovers show. I'm your nonprofit sector connector, Tommy D, coming at you from my attic. And I'm here with my friend Val. I'm here with my friend Jane. I'm here with my friend Michael Liebowitz. This is an incredible show. I'm psyched every time I get to do this show. I'm so excited about this show that I did my other show last week. And I said, welcome to the Professionals and Animal Lovers show. And I realized I was on philanthropy and focus. So that's how much I like this show. I try to use it when I'm not here. So listen, this show has been a trip for me. I decided last week when we did the show, I happened to be from an undisclosed location in the southeast of the United States of America. Well, I was in Florida, but it was only undisclosed really while I was there, because like then you could find me. You know, now I'm just in some random attic somewhere. But, you know, I was talking when Val and I were doing the show last week, and it was special. It was all about the rabbits, and really, really important conversation. And I learned a lot. And now I'm looking around my neighborhood for rabbits to see if there's any rabbits that need help. But I said, you know, Valerie gave me this compliment about being an advocate. And I'm like thinking, you know what? And I thought about it now for a week. And I'm learning to be an advocate for the animals. And I would hope that the folks who plug into this show are doing the same. Either you are an advocate and you know what you're doing out there, or you're trying to learn like I'm trying to learn. So there's three things we do here. We advocate, we educate, and we learn. Not necessarily in that order, but we do that because we believe that the relationships between people who care about animals, which sounds like something like, why would I have to say like people who care about animals? That sounds ridiculous. Like, where are these people that don't care about animals? Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
There
you know
are
what
many, many.
It sounds like one of those extra things, Jane. Like, why would I have to add those extra words in? But you do. So the people who are in this tribe, who care about animals, who are compassionate, we believe they want to hang out together. And, you know, we believe that the bond is incredibly strong. And I'm not going to just say what I always say. I'm just going to kind of riff on it, because we believe they want to hang out together. They want to support each other's efforts. They want to do business together. It's not necessarily like, well, this person runs a nonprofit organization or a shelter, or this person is a vet. It's this person cares about animals. Oh, and 3 sentences later, here's what they actually do for a living or do for society, you know? So it's sort of flipped in the other direction. And I'll kind of reference it. Valerie came to me with this idea, but it was out of an old idea that she did when she was running a networking group here on Long Island. And it was about people connecting over what their connections are versus what the heck it is that they do, you know? So the financial advisor who fosters cats, the CPA who likes dogs, etc. And it was more like, I'm somebody who likes dogs, not I do your 1040, you know? Like, so those kind of things is where it like kind of set it in motion. And if you're plugged into the show, you've heard these stories before, but that's really what it's all about. So every week we're going to bring to you guests to help tell the story, help you learn, help you get educated, and maybe you too can be a junior advocate like your boy. All right, so let's get underway. I know I want to say, Val, I know how we said we would do the show to begin, and we will, but I want to make sure we say hello to our guests, and then we'll do a little bit of a legal update and things like that, if that's okay. So Jane, returning champion Vitali, welcome back to the show from the North Shore Animal League, Director of Education over there. How are you today? Good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
I am wonderful, and I was so excited to be invited back so soon. I love you so much, both of you, the work that you do, and I love the music, the song you were playing when we were waiting to go on.
Valerie loves that song too.
I mean, it's so apropos to what we're all talking about, really, how we are all one.
We're all connected.
We're all connected.
I believe it comes from I was going to say Carl Jung, but I don't think it's Carl Jung. I think it's no, he was like a guy who was about the cosmos, and he had an album that they put on a not a UFO, but on a spaceship that they sent out into
Voyager probes.
Yeah, but it had like all these things that had music on there. There was like a song. We'll figure out whether it's during the break. Dylan, help me out. Dylan's taking care of things. Text Sam Liebowitz, figure out what the song is, but it's about we're all connected. It's about the atoms and everything like that. So
I like the message.
You like
Right.
I like the message.
There's somebody said, we're all connected, and if we don't realize it, we're gonna find out the hard way. Something to that effect, yeah. We kind of already have, right, with COVID.
Unfortunately, but that did, Jade, that got a little sinister. We're gonna find out the hard way. All right.
It's almost like a warning.
Michael Liebowitz, get into this conversation before you find out the hard way. Get in here. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, Tommy. I'm really happy to be here.
We're thrilled that you're here too. We'll get into your background and what we're going to do. And we're going to play today. We're going to do a workshop today. But I do want my co-host and really the visionary and my mentor in all things animal advocacy. And sometimes she gets cranky about how much there is out there for her to do. But hey, it ain't easy saving the world, kid. All right, so take it away. We have you wanted to update us on some legal issues. There's a couple of senators you want to say thank you to. There's some other information. So Val, give us a legal update. What's going on in our world?
Okay, so well, just to quickly piggyback on what you were talking about, I am now this person who I'm actively looking at wherever I spend my consumer dollars. What is that organization doing for the animals or people? I'll settle for people and children, but I'm just saying, like, imagine if every single person really looked into where their monies were going. Example, we just booked our first annual event, inaugural event, the Compassion Awards. We hope you guys can make it. And that it purposefully we chose the Refuge in Melville because they are like one of the first restaurants on Long Island to offer the ability to bring your pets with you to their outdoor dining place for their bark and brunch every Sunday during, the right season. And they get Tito's Vodka to donate $1,500 to a local rescue. And they provide a vegan option menu for all levels, their daily restaurant dining and also their catering. So this is on purpose. And this was part of our thought process. So
and what's their name again? I'm sorry, Val,
the Refuge in Melville.
Refuge.
Mark your calendars, October 11th this year, the first annual Compassion Awards. Isn't that
10/11/22, right? 10/11/22. I like numbers.
Yes.
I'll share
Book your flights.
Book your flight.
Okay, so today is Manatee Appreciation Day, which also happens to fall at the end of Seagrass Awareness Month. And you can find out more and get involved at Save the Manatees.
I appreciate that we're not going to do any of the jokes. That's what I appreciate because they're really, really bad jokes. I looked, there's like 37.
I love how Tommy opens the show trying to find manatee jokes.
That's what this show is about, Michael. This is what it's all about here.
Because he's tapping into his humanity.
Oh my God. Oh, yes. Here we go.
I tried, folks. I tried to
put on a roll now. Let's get going.
Next up, this is really exciting. I'm whipping out the pom-poms. Yay! New York senators. I'm a big believer of gratitude, and we are thankful today to New York State Senators Bill Boyle and Alessandra Biaggi for sponsoring a pending bill to prohibit the sale of cosmetics that have been tested on animals. And Senator Boyle had this great quote in Newsday: whether you're far left or far right, no one wants to see animals suffer. So thank you to those two senators.
Thank you, Biaggi and Boyle. Appreciate you.
Yes.
And
I just shared the Refuge, Val. I just shared the Refuge out there. And here's what I'm getting from talking alternative broadcasting. It's called the Symphony of Science. And I think I had my Carl part right because I think it's Carl Sagan. And I was getting young.
I had a feeling you were talking about Sagan.
I was. Well, you got that whole magnetic mind. You knew exactly what was going on. Give me a little more.
Puppy Mill Free NY on Facebook is a great resource and the most probably organized and knowledgeable place to go to for information related to this very important bill. But here's the deal. If you love animals, which I know a lot of you do, hopefully all of you, but it is not enough to just say, oh, I love animals. We need you to make some phone calls. this bill, which is currently, it has passed the New York State Senate. It is a historical bill, number A4283, which would prohibit the sale of puppies, kittens, and rabbits into pet stores. So in other words, they're going to cut off the puppy mill pipeline if this bill passes. We need only 6 more sponsorships, and that will give us the majority in the assembly. So please go to Puppy Mill Free NY on Facebook.
Just share it.
Pull up their list of non-sponsors and call them and tell them that you want their support on this very important bill. It has passed in multiple other states. It has passed in over 400 municipalities on the local level. And it really is just a matter of time, because now people understand what puppy mills are, and we're becoming more and more involved and educated. So really the writing is on the wall, but we don't want to wait another year, because there's 250,000 dogs who are suffering in these commercially bred facilities.
Hey Val,
So
you know, I just pulled this up, and I'm not going to just start calling out names, but I just pulled this up, and there's got to be 130 names or something on here. It's like 4 or 5 pages. My point is, you need 6.
We
So,
need 6.
and I'm not real good on the Facebook, but I was able to pull this up pretty easy. So I just
Home stretch, we need 6.
6 is not a lot. Okay, and what's the deadline on that?
Legislative session ends this time, I think June 2nd, but we want everyone to call now, because as much as we're imploring people to call, the other side, the hired guns, the lobbyists who get paid a lot of money to try to kill bills like this in favor of animal welfare, they're at this every single day. Okay.
Not to be confused with that movie Kill Bill with Uma Thurman.
Right, not that one. Right, no, they want to kill the legislation, and they were able to postpone it last year, so the animals suffered a whole other year. But this year, we're this close, so it's time. And please spread the word.
Please do that. I put this all out on Facebook right now. I tag them to us and their whole thing. So if you're checking out our show right now, whether you're checking it out live or you're checking out, not live, the opposite of live, not dead, but just not live. Well, if you're checking it out later on, you'll see all this on Facebook. Just look, just go check it out. If you're in the car or some other vehicle and you're listening only in listen only mode, then don't be later on, and check it out on Facebook. All right, let's keep it moving, because we got to dive in, because we're actually supposed to go to a commercial break right now. So I'm going to break the rules, because that's why they're there, to be broken a little bit and bent. So here's what we're going to do. Michael Liebowitz, I want to do something really quick, and then we will go to break. So like a teaser, right?
Okay.
Every organization that has that one powerful message to make people say yes. So Michael Liebowitz is the CEO of Magnetic Mind Studio, which is a laboratory for clear messaging and deeply felt value articulation, founded from Michael's passion for understanding how the human mind works and how it drives our decisions. So Michael, What happened? How did we end up getting you on the show? Because we were talking about it before, but it wasn't like you said, I do all this work around animals. There was something that drove you. So tell me that story in like 30 seconds. Let's tease them, and then we'll come back.
The 30-second story of how I got on the show was really, there was that question, hey, what would you do if you won the lottery? And it was like, oh, I'd buy a house, I'd travel the world. And I'm like, buying a ranch, saving all the animals. and Tommy's eyes lit up. And Tommy, you already know my background with messaging and how do you talk to people in a way that makes their brain wake up and gets them motivated or aligned with what you're talking about. And that's where the connection went.
And that's where it went. And that's how you're here. And when we come back, you'll tell us your story and how we're going to get this in. And we have Jane Vitale here because, like I said, we're going to workshop this a little bit. We're going to talk and do this in real time. And I think that's going to be, I was going to say a pisser, and I think I just did. I think it's going to be a pisser. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be right back. This is the Professionals in Animal Lovers Show. 90 seconds, right back.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Liebowitz, your conscious consultant. And on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you on edge? Hey, we live in challenging, edgy times, so let's lean in. I'm Sandra Bargman, the host of The Edge of Every Day, which airs each Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc. Tune in live with me and my friends and colleagues as we share stories and perspectives about pushing boundaries and exploring our rough edges. That's The Edge of Every Day on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Hello, pals. What's up, Val? What do you got? Take it away.
No, welcome back to the show. I cannot wait to hear this information. And I was just curious really quickly. I know that this is going to benefit animal rescues and not-for-profits, but Michael, is this also going to involve influencing your spouse, hypothetically?
We'll see where it goes. Full disclosure, I have yet to figure that out with my own, but we'll see what happens.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I'm really excited. I love NLP. I've read a bunch of Tony Robbins books. I think I mentioned I know a friend that went to the California, the organization that teaches NLP, and he took a course to get certified, and it's really fascinating stuff. So let's jump in. How do we raise more money for the animals?
Okay. So a couple of principles that we need to keep in mind. And I'll just say them out. I'll just lay them out without context, and then we'll build context as we go. The first one is meet people where they're at, right? Here's what I mean by that. People are always in a state of mind in any given context. So there you are, you're asking, hey, support my animal rescue. Well, you want to ask that, make that ask where people are already in a frame of mind where that's in alignment with where they're at. So being out front of some big box tax prep company saying, hey, support my animal rescue, when they're in a frame of mind of, oh crap, I'm doing taxes, I don't want to be, all this money's going out the door, probably not really good idea, right? But finding people where they are in the frame of mind of, I love my pet, I'm willing to spend money and such like that, excellent place to go ask for money because they're already in that frame of mind. The example that came up and one of the things that Tommy and I talked about earlier was my local pet food place, literally called Pet Food Express. Like, talk about naming that's like on the nose. But they're very community oriented. They're the only place we get our pet food. And I give to charities, to pet rescue organizations all the time in that store, because here's what they do. I'm making a purchase. I'm buying my cat food. I'm buying my dog food. And yes, I have one of these. And they will say, hey, we're raising money for this local thing. Would you, as long as you're making a purchase here, this is the unspoken contract, as long as you're spending money right now, how about adding $5, $10 to the total, and that money goes directly to the organization. And every single time I'm all, hell yeah, make it 20 bucks. In fact, let's add in this dog food, let's add in this, right? But I'm already in the frame of mind of spending money on animals, right? And so it works every time, and it's in perfect alignment. And these groups just came to this store, or even the store went to these groups maybe and said, hey, this is where they're in that frame of mind of money is coming out the pocket, and I'm totally okay with that, and I'm feeling good about animals. Great time to ask. Works every time for me. And I've asked them, they say, oh yeah, our hit rate for people saying yes, even if it's just a few bucks, is
Right.
about 80%.
Yeah, I would think so too, because even if like if it's attainable, because it's not like they're not asking like, for $100 or
Right.
more, they're just basically saying, while you're here, would you like to make a donation? And that's pretty attainable. And I know there's this big disconnect, because it's like, here's the problem, we all get solicited for all different causes all the
Right,
time.
right.
And I certainly don't begrudge those organizations for asking, but you can't say yes to everyone, and
Right.
every single day it's like, oh my God. But on the flip side, right? So I haven't made a donation today yet. But if I was walking down the street, let's say I'm walking my dog, and there was a kid or, some people are manning a table, and they were like, we're trying to raise money. There's a dog in need. They need surgery and all that stuff. I'd be like, done, right?
Yeah.
So I totally agree with what you're saying. Are there any other places that you could think of besides pet food stores that maybe this would be like a no-brainer opportunity to take advantage of or approach?
I'm right on the fly. I don't have specific places, but I have like, here are the questions one needs to ask to find
Okay.
those places.
Good.
So what are the feelings that you want someone to be in where they are, or where you have experience where you're in that giving mood, right? Especially around pets. What does that feel like? Where else in the world have you felt that? Might be, or that you notice people feeling that way. So what are pets all about? They're about family. They're about this expression of love and affection. So what other things include that? I bet, especially now that we're still have to get through spring, but we're heading into summer, all the local fairs and festivals and such like that, where people are doing family oriented stuff, is a good place to do this. I'd even maybe on a left field, if there are any home shows going on, talk about left field, like here you are thinking about your home. And especially if the message is implied that this pet or pets are a part of the home and this feeling of home, those might be interesting places to give it a shot. But it's mostly about how do we, not like what are the places specifically, because you may not get really high quality ideas. It's more of where do we go that have similar feelings to taking care of a pet.
What about this? What about, and Jane, feel free to jump in if you have any
Yeah.
questions with us. Let's just make this an open conversation too. But what if, and I don't really go to this place anymore, but we used to go every Sunday when I was a kid. But like, what about church or other services or temple or synagogue, right? Like where you're thinking familial type stuff and love and compassion. And, I'm not saying to be necessarily outside the building looking for dollars, but to make some sort of, I put it on Facebook, it's in alignment to what you're talking about, the family and compassion and love and affection and the stuff you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. All those places that have those feelings, they're already in that headspace. So making that connection is a lot easier. Whereas like, yeah, we all get solicited for donations for some worthy causes, but notice where they're happening. For me, it's the mail. What state of mind am I in?
Yes.
I may have just opened up a bill or two, right? It's like, I've already spent money, right?
But in a CVS, sometimes they want me, do you want to round up and stuff like that? And no, I just want to get out of here, man. Like I'm good.
Yeah.
And you know what? I love this so much. And one of the things that I think would also help, I'm just kind of trying to think outside of the box, but like if let's say I'm at a dog park and there's a rescue that has a table there or whatever, and they're trying to round up, volunteers and donations and stuff. If I feel half the battle is getting people to take the time out to fill in their information.
Yeah.
But if I fill something out once and there's a recurring option, even if it's something small, even if it's $5 a month, it doesn't sound like a lot, but you get 100 people to donate $5 a month, that's $500 a month to your rescue.
Yeah.
And that's a lot in the world of animal rescue that buys a lot of cat food and buys a lot of dog food. So I'm just thinking like, because that's part of the dilemma. Like, I know I never want to sit and peck out my credit card. I gotta get my reading glasses out. I gotta get the credit card out. I gotta, it's a hassle. But I definitely, if I could do it once and commit to something like that, recurring, not a big deal, I would totally do that.
Exactly. And that gets to the next frame, which is the idea of how do you reduce friction? Now, those things where you see like, hey, do you want to round up you're at the grocery store for this cause, is the ultimate reduction in friction. It's like, sure, makes it easy on my back end when I balance my checkbook because everything is 0-0 rather than in decimals.
Yeah.
And it's so easy just to go, hey, do you want to round up? It's an extra 40 cents or whatever. It's like 40 cents, whatever. I mean, I get an easy experience with the back end. I click a button and it's done, right? I didn't have to fill in a form. Right. And they get 40 cents for how many thousands of people go through that thing. It's brilliant. But what you just said, Valerie, about recurring, how do we, if there's any friction, which is time or energy spent is friction, right? If we can reduce, how do we reduce friction? So that is, when you were talking earlier about asking people to call their senators about this bill coming up, my question is, how is it possible to reduce friction for the people that you want to take action, right? Now, posting that link on Facebook is a start, so they don't have to go look for it. But now you're still asking them to go click that link, sort through it, find a senator they want to call, dial the phone, and such like that. Yeah. So maybe, I know we're going to a break pretty soon here, but maybe when we come back from the break, or we can start now and come back to it, we can talk about ways to reduce friction for political activism on these causes, right? Yeah, that would be great. What is the literal easy button that you can ask someone to do that makes it a lot just like you, so you get them in action because they didn't see a bunch of friction ahead, and who wants that, right? So I've seen things where, like you said, like what's the version of you sign up once and action happens? There's a company, I don't know if they're national or what, called Working Assets. It's a long distance phone company. And when you get a bill, they include with your bill, hey, we're supporting these causes. Check the box and they will send on your behalf with your name, because they have they have your name, they have your address. They will send the postcard to the appropriate legal authority, senator, congressperson, or agency.
What about that, Val? What if on behalf of the PALShow, like we could reach out to these politicians, having people sign something electronically and then we send it in? Let's talk about that. Let's take that back. Jane, just jump in real quick. Do you have any questions, or how, we're going to take a quick break, but how this is hitting you from somebody who represents an organization?
Yeah, I mean, we at North Shore Animal League America, we do a lot of what Michael was talking about, and we can talk about that right now. Actually, we have our Tour for Life, which is an annual event where pre-COVID, our mobile units, our shelters on wheels, would go simultaneously across the country from east to west, north to south. We would go out empty with our mobile units to support. We have over 2,000 shelter partners, and we would do just what you said, Michael. We'd go to the shelters, we fill the shelters with their animals, and then we drive the mobile unit to high traffic family areas. It could be a Walmart parking lot. It could be a festival.
Nice.
It could be a number of different things. And we actually, we're very fortunate that we have the ability to help and support shelters across the country. I think there's even a bigger picture too, to take it even a notch up. And I love what you said about the corporations, because that's a great way to get money. If you can get corporations to let their employees know that they have the ability to donate, and then they would match it, something like that, and they can pick an organization, that's the big way. But I think too, the problem is even above this is to educate. We want to stop killing animals as a means of population control, right? And that's what we're trying to stop. Puppy mills, we just did a huge puppy mill rescue. And the way to do that is to educate. And there's nobody better than to grab the kids, which is, as you know, one of the ways that we do it, to get the kids out there
Yes.
advocating. They are the future, right? They're the intellectual pathway to a no.
Don't start, Jane, don't do that again. The last time you started that, I started singing. I believe the children are right. Dylan, take us to a break, Dylan. Take us to a break, Dylan. Hurry up.
I'm waiting. That's
McElroy, host of the new podcast, Gateway to the Smokies. It airs on talkradio.nyc every Tuesday night from 6 p.m. to 7. Every episode is dedicated to memorable experiences in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and surrounding areas. This show features experts and locals who will expound upon the richness of culture, history, and adventure that awaits you in the Smokies. Tune in every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 7 on talkradio.nyc.
Are you passionate about the conversation around racism? Hi, I'm Reverend Dr. TLC, host of the Dismantle Racism Show, which airs every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc. Join me and my amazing guests as we discuss ways to uncover, dismantle, and eradicate racism. That's Thursdays at 11 o'clock a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a small business trying to navigate the COVID-19 related employment laws? Hello, I'm Eric Sauver, employment law, business law attorney, and host of the new radio show, Employment Law Today. On my show, we'll have guests to discuss the common employment law challenges business owners are facing during these trying times. Tune in on Tuesday evenings from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc, now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Teach them well and let them lead the way.
I just thought of a great fundraiser. Oh my God.
Yeah, I had to hold my breath during the whole commercial break, Val, so I could sing that when I came back.
The fundraiser is going to be like, the more you donate, the less Tommy will sing.
Oh, I wouldn't get to that. I want him to sing.
I love that, but I don't love it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure we can raise a lot of dough, but
I'm kidding.
Which brings me to the next frame.
Good.
And I have a big challenge too. Once we're done, I do have a question for you, Michael.
Yeah, it is to connect what you're doing to a big outcome. So the outcome in this case is you don't have to hear Tommy sing, right? Now, the outcome, of course, obviously, is the welfare of the pets, but they're not my pets. It's a more generalized external outcome. But what is the outcome that I can feel? The more people can connect to a big outcome, the more motivated they are to take action.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, what could it be with pets is, hey, help us save these dogs so that families can have the experience of having a pet in the home and all the things that it happens for a child who has a pet and compassion. They learn all these things, right? It connects it to something bigger than just, hey, we need to get some animals some homes or get them off the streets. Or
I can't help but think of Joey's P.A.L, the great organization who P.A.L is an acronym that it stands for prosthetics and wheels.
Yes.
And they donate, and they donate what's needed mostly to shelter animals, and it helps them get adopted.
Yeah. While you're talking about that, you have to take a little credit about something. If you're going to call me a junior advocate, then you got to take some credit for me for being a junior connector. Like what you did, call it out as, you don't have to, you can protect the names to protect the innocent or whatever they say on their shows, but tell that story quick. And then take my question.
I might cry, but
then do it even better.
Cry. No, like Tommy said, 6 months ago, I didn't know any of these people, but we had a representative from Joey's P.A.L come on, Tanya Dybel, and her husband, Charlie Dybel. And lo and behold, just a few short weeks ago, I met someone whose dog has a couple of things wrong with her, but severe hip dysplasia is one of them. And they needed wheels for this dog. And the guy, he's actually an amputee and he's about to get his prosthetic leg, I think today. And then after his recovery or adjustment period, he was going to build wheels for their dog. And I said, you know, I think I know someone who might be able to help you. And it was just the best feeling in the world, because this is the ripple effect that we're always talking about, right? I was able to connect them. And 2 or 3 nights ago, I see this video where they tagged us, and it happens. This dog is now walking around so easily. She's mobile again, and with her wheels. Oh, I can't even take it.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen if the show doesn't happen. And this is bigger than Valerie and Tommy D. It's, you know, it's the show created. The first episode is Reno, who brings on our friend Regina. Regina introduces us to Tanya and Charlie over, and then and out goes the ripple, right? And there's those pebbles in the pond that ripple. I'd argue infinitely. It's magic pebbles.
I want to put a finer point on what I just mentioned. I remember hearing about this college level, like sociology or human behavior class back before the internet. So there's no link to go to see this. This was back in the 80s. But I remember hearing about it, where the study was, this is back when we had lines for the ATM, right? And for those of you listening who have never known what an ATM is, it's where people would line up to do some automatic banking. Anyway, there used to be actual literal lines for those things, like 5 people or 6 people long. Here was the experiment. Half the class had to go up to someone in the middle of the line and say, hey, can I cut in front of you? Just leave it there. Get a yes or a no. And the people that did that had about maybe a 20 to 30% acceptance rate. Some people are just nice, right? The second group do the same thing. Go up to someone in the middle of the line and say, can I cut in front of you because, and then fill in anything you want. Make it ridiculous, make it tug the heartstrings, whatever you want. Make it even like, hey, can I cut in front of you because I'm in a hurry, or because I want to, or whatever. And the yes rate they got from that was north of 60%. Simply by adding up because, and the reason why that's the case is our brains are wired to want to know the rationale for something. Right? And this is why that, like, connect the ask of money or time to a because, right?
So in other words, please donate to our cause, because if you don't, I'm gonna jump out a window.
Well,
if they care about you, yeah.
If they care, yes, exactly.
No, I get it. No, but that is so true, because I find myself asking why all the time, especially in this world of animal welfare. You know, there's just so many things that happen that don't make sense.
Yeah.
And so you really struggle with the motivation behind, you know, whether it's certain politicians not sponsoring a bill, or, you know, or just the behaviors of certain, you know.
But that's the thing, Val. Yeah, but that's the thing too. Like, and then I want Jane to jump in because she had a challenge for Michael, and I want to hear that challenge. But the piece there is, and I looked at this long list on this PDF on Facebook of all these names. Maybe Senator such and such doesn't know what the because actually is. You're asking them to sign this thing or her to sign this thing. You know, Boyle and Biaggi, they know what the because is because somebody got in their face and explained it. Is that what we're hearing, Michael?
That's one version of it. Or even to the people you're asking, and I'll just ask it on the show. Hey, reach out, go to that link, reach out, pick one senator. You don't have to do them all. Just pick one, because if you get 100 people picking one, then that's the 6, right? They're not going to pick all the same one. Reach out to these senators, because these senators may not know this bill is out there. They may not know why it's so important. It may not be because they don't want to do it. It's just that there's no one telling them this is an option for you to do. We need your help to let them know this thing exists.
Can you do that then, Michael or Valerie? Can somebody do that right now? Call out these people who listen to our show, the hundreds of people, and explain what we need them to do, just like that.
I
know, do it again. Do it again.
Michael, I want to just thank you for that, because you really hit on a very solid point. The reality is that every single senator and every single assembly person is up for re-election this year, so they're worried about that. But in addition to that, every legislative session has hundreds, possibly thousands of bills for all different levels, all different causes, all different, laws that are looking to get passed. And every single one of those laws has a bunch of people who care about it, and they're making the phone calls and they're sending the emails, and they might have a lobbyist or whatever. So it's a really fair and a very important point that even if they might have heard about it, it may not be front burner, top of mind. And that's why
they heard about it and then forgot about it because they're on to the next thing. They have a whole agenda in front of them. And then when you call, say, hey, I really would like you to support this bill because me and my neighbors, we hate living in a world where we know that this stuff is going on. And it would mean all the difference in the world to me and everyone in my neighborhood who I see every day, like really personalize it. If you would do this.
Good job, Michael. Wow, thank you.
I think what happens is animals are put on a lower status and people think, oh, there's so many humans suffering in the world. We don't have time for the non-humans. So it's really important to get the messaging out how we are all interconnected and their health is our health, their well-being is our well-being. And you have to educate, right? You have to educate on that human animal bond and how, hey, the violence link, right? Violence to animals is violence to people, usually, in most cases. And that's a really important topic. But, there's an interspecies connection where we are animals. We are animals, they are non-human animals, but they're who's to say one's more relevant than the other? They certainly know how to live in peace better than we do.
I like the frame Valerie used earlier. I love pets. I'll settle for humans occasionally.
Just say that to Val.
Jane, to your point also, it's really true because like if someone hurts an animal, okay, they may in their mind think they're hurting an animal or whatever, but the truth is that they're hurting every single person who cares about animals. You know what I'm saying? So they might think, oh, I just kicked a dog or whatever. Every single dog person and dog lover. And I remember during a protest that I went to, it was in 2017, and it was over. The town of Hempstead decided not to let a former employee care for his colony of cats anymore. It was very sad. But the point is, I remember a sign that literally said the name of the person that was in power at that time. So it said, I'll just say what it said. It said, Santino, now you've pissed off the cat people. And you know what? It really was true because in that election, this guy was the incumbent and it was the biggest underdog victory. He lost by 1% of the vote. And I really attribute that to the animal.
How about in Georgia, the gentleman that won this past, I'm embarrassed, I can't think of his name, but he would do his commercials with his dog sitting in his lap. And they felt that really had a huge impact on him getting elected.
Yes, the world is becoming more compassionate and really these elected officials need to realize that. So
we do have to we got to go to a quick break. One thing I wanted to just say, Jane, to your point, I used to tell Valerie when she would talk to me about the animals all the time, like, Val, there's so many freaking people like that need help. And like, I was not confused, but they don't have to be mutually exclusive. Like in my head for a while, I was like, well, I got to go help all these people, but we can do both at the same time. And we should not be speciest, right, Val? That we should.
That's right. We need to do it. It needs to come together.
It's not right.
It's not a binary option. And the truth is, the more animals that you can help, the more people are helped also.
That's right. That's right.
All right, we do have to go to a quick break. We always run out of time here as part of the show.
Breaks.
Yeah, well, I'll talk to Sam. Let me text Sam real quick. Maybe we can avoid breaks going forward. All right, we'll be right back.
Maybe he could forgo like actual advertising revenue.
For the animals.
Hey, buddy, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic.
Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
In a post-COVID world, you may have many unanswered questions regarding your health. Are you looking to live a healthier lifestyle? Do you have a desire to learn more about mental health and enhance your quality of life? Or do you just want to participate in self-understanding and awareness? I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each Thursday, I will tackle these questions and work to enlighten you. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will be Frank About Health to advocate for all of us.
Calling all pet lovers.
Pet Avengers, assemble!
On the Professionals and Animal Lovers show, we believe the bond between animal lovers is incredibly strong. It mirrors that bond between pets and their owners. Through this program, we come together to learn, educate, and advocate.
Join us live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. at talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
All right, we're back. This is PALS. I'm Tommy D, and that's Val. That rhymes. All right, check it out. So here's the truth. People don't want your thing. They want what your thing means to them, your widget, your service, your product.
Mm.
When you find the meaning, you find the message. And that's relevant if you're a nonprofit. It's relevant if you're a business person. Apparently it's, or at least Valerie asked, is it relevant if you're married to someone and you want to convince them that I don't even want to get into this. People don't want your thing. And then they, okay, forget it. Michael, you better talk.
That, hypothetically.
This is trouble right now. I'm in trouble zone. Just take it away, Michael. What does this actually mean for folks?
Right. So my work is mostly with businesses. So I'll just from that perspective, but we often talk about, here's the thing I'm trying to do in my business, or even if it's a nonprofit, here's what I want to accomplish. And we talk about that thing. But we as human beings, we are motivated by meaning. Our brains are designed, we are meaning-making machines. A thing happens, and we don't just regard like, that thing happened. No, we make a meaning out of that. Well, if that happened, therefore, that must mean this about myself or the world or whatever. And that's how we organize and understand our world. So whenever you say, hey, I do this for, our business or our organization does this, your audience is trying to figure out, well, what does that mean to me, right? Or what is the meaning in my life? And they're also asking, well, what's your meaning for all this? Like, do we align on any of this stuff? And so when you message, when you communicate based on what is the meaning of what you do, you're giving them the clues they need to understand you more fully. And therefore they can say like, oh, yes, I trust you, I get you, you get me, we are aligned, and you're about 98% of the way to a yes to each other with each other.
Let me ask you, so in essence, instead of leaving it obscure,
yeah,
right, tell them what the heck the meaning is. Because if you tell, then I don't have to try and figure out,
exactly.
I don't have to be a meaning making machine, because you told me what the heck it is, and I go, oh yeah, now I just gotta say, do I like him or her?
Yeah.
And do I like what they're talking about, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm gonna get super wonky with you here. In any human interaction, the person with the strongest belief wins, okay? The example I give is, if the child believes they deserve that piece of candy more than their parent believes they don't, guess who's getting candy, right? And everyone knows this. Everyone smiles and goes, oh yeah. And that's because beliefs win the day. We organize our world based on our belief system. And we recognize two things are going on. If you believe the same thing I do, then you are safe to be around, says the parts of our brain that calculate survival, really. But also, the person with the strongest belief will cause other people to come onto your frame of understanding, right? Because that's where it's safest to be.
I remember Tony Robbins saying, you go into a meeting, and I think it's very similar to what you're saying. And the person who is more certain, is the person who's going to win that meeting. Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. And so when you figure out the meaning of the business, that's just a form of belief, right? And that's where because comes from, really. Can I cut in line because I'm in a hurry? Now, I believe in me being in a hurry is so important, more than you're just sitting around waiting in line. And that's why we go onto your map of reality. Go, okay, sure, come. Like 60% of the people go, sure, come on in. Clearly, this is important to you, right?
Michael,
therefore, it's important to me.
Since it's important to you, therefore, 60% is a big number. Just putting in the because piece. So what about? I want to give Jane a shot too before we get out of here today, but how do people plug in with you? I know about you have a brand attraction workshop. I showed the website a couple of times. Tell us how to plug in.
Yeah. So
the workshop is the best way to get introduced to me and what I do. In that workshop, I do sort of a 35-minute quote unquote TED talk about how our neurology works to understand, each other, and what that means for any business owner. And then in the second half, we actually work on your message in the room. So you come out with a better message than you had coming in. So that's the easiest way to plug in with me at the moment. I'm also on LinkedIn. I'll give you my LinkedIn.
I'll share all this stuff on Facebook. You don't
So
you don't have to worry about that stuff.
Happy to connect on the LinkedIn as well. And I do want to get to Jane's question, but real quick, I get nerdy with the language. We were talking earlier about when you hurt an animal type of framing. Here's the thing though with language. Notice how when you hurt something, or hey, that person over there hurt that other person or animal. Notice how that lands. Here's what's really going on, and this is the meaning part. Notice how it changes when you say, hey, you shouldn't do that because you are causing pain to that animal. Notice how that, because everyone feels they know what it's like to have felt pain. Hurt is more abstract. So the more clear the language, the more it points like, you hurt them. Well, what does it mean that you hurt them? Well, you caused them pain. Just say that. Right?
And that's so true because, we talk about how words matter. One word can change the nuance.
Absolutely.
That's so important. And I always try to do that in my communication with writing and with speaking. And it's funny, I've been in round tables and so forth, and it's exactly what you said, Michael. How do we get people to understand? And that's how I go out. I teach through I try to raise awareness through the lens of the rescue pet and the story of the rescue. And it really resonates and it really relates to the human condition. Of storytelling, cognitive development, and empathy, and learning how to build resiliency and all that.
Absolutely.
But the one thing we all can relate to is pain. Pain. And that's one way that you do start to kind of, tell the story of why you should care about.
Help us get these animals out of experiencing pain, of feeling pain.
Yeah. And I mean, we're just talking about the US, I believe, well, it's universal what you're talking about, the language you're speaking, absolutely. But what's happening in the US versus now I'm working in Bosnia, Croatia, lots of other countries, the animals are on the streets and it's horrendous.
The animals are not on the streets. The animals are lost. They don't know where their next meal is coming from. They're wandering around. They're wondering what life is, what is happening in life right now.
Right. That's
Notice
right.
So I have a few tips I really want to share.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say Ukraine. What's going on with the animals? It's and the people. I know, but it's all there.
Yeah. Jane, you had a challenge for me.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I know we're short on time. I just have a couple of tips I want to rattle off for any of the rescues or not-for-profits that are listening. I found some great tools. One of them is Bonfire. You don't have to order a bunch of inventory. Bonfire works really well with charities, and I know a couple of them including Joey's Paw and Camp Happy Tails NYC that use it. And so check them out at bonfire.com. I have this idea, well, actually, a virtual garage sale. So it's spring cleaning time and a lot of people are going to be getting rid of stuff, or maybe they're moving. If you can put it out there and team up with people and say, hey, would you donate a percentage of your garage sale proceeds to us? You know, or even if like, I want to get rid of one item, I'm selling a couch or something like that, I would offer to donate a percentage of proceeds to, you know, my favorite rescues. Pizza boxes. This is so cool. I believe Reno does this on his pizza boxes. If you approach your local pizzeria, I mean, you guys are in New York, Michael, California, there's a pizzeria every 5 minutes in your car, probably more. And imagine if every pizzeria put attached or taped a flyer for an adoptable pet on their pizza boxes. I just spoke to a pizza owner today. They're going to
Oh my gosh, what a great idea.
Yeah, no
Because
friction.
who's having pizza with your family, right?
Right. And it's no friction and it's just a great thing to do. And Amazon Smile is just a no-brainer for charities to team up with.
Yeah,
So
and it's a picture of a happy looking pet, not the sad one, because you don't want to break their emotional state of, hey, we're having dinner together. It's a happy animal. It's like, hey, this animal wants to be in a home just like yours.
Yep. There you go. Those are my tips.
We are totally out of time. Jane, how long is it going to take you to tell this challenge? Michael's not going to be able to answer it now, but I want to make him answer it later on Facebook. So what's the challenge?
So here's the challenge. So at Nurture Animal League America, our mission is to rescue, nurture, adopt. And just in the last 2 years, we added educate, and that's where I come in. Now it's very easy. You know, a lot of people love animals, don't care for people, don't care for kids or whatever. So when we're trying to fundraise for the educational piece, it's really challenging because they don't quite get it. Well, you're an adoption and rescue organization. What are you doing in the educational realm? So you have to put the pieces together for them. And it's very difficult to fundraise. The largest organizations have given up education. Organizations far bigger with a far larger pot than Nurture Animal League America's have stopped their educational piece. We're one of the last ones standing, still doing it because
hit me with the challenge. Hit me with the challenge. I'm out of time.
So how do you how do you get the people? How do you get the funding for education?
Now, there's the question, Michael. Here's the answer. You're going to do a video later on. We're going to put it up on Facebook as a response to that question. We've never done it before. I think it can work. I think we have the power. In his total commitment to nonviolence, Gandhi always included the animals by saying the greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. Michael Liebowitz, Jane Vitale, Valerie Heffron, and Tommy.
Pleasure being here.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Michael. Thanks so much.
Gandhi.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Love the
Bye. I love you.